And hi, fans, and welcome to another action-packed, exciting hour of the Smoky Mountain Rewatch Along Project. This is podcasting the way it used to be and the way you like it. This show is a production of the Something Else Podcasting Network, and it is episode number 108 of Smoky Mountain Wrestling from February 19th, 1994, taped February 7th, 1994, at the Jellicoe High School in Jellicoe. I hope it was Tennessee because I didn't actually write down what state it was. My name is Arya, and joining me, as always, is the Timothy Well to my Steven Dunn. It's Trae. Trae, are we at least in Tennessee?
We are. We're back in Jellicoe, Tennessee. We were
I,
so
mhm.
the very first Smoky Mountain review that I joined you on was the first episode from a set of tapings in Jellicoe, and that was the angle where the dirty white boy burned the Confederate flag. And then back in October, we had another taping in Jellicoe, and that was the greatest angle of all time, where Mr. Ron Wright and the dirty white boy turned babyface. So I wonder what we're gonna get this time in Jellicoe.
So what you're saying is we should expect a fantastic angle, if nothing else, over the next month.
Probably involving the dirty white boy.
I was going to say, odds are strong that White Boy will be involved somehow.
Yeah.
So yeah, we are back in Jellicoe, Tennessee. I mean, it's a good building for TV, and they always get a good hot crowd. I mean, it may
Yeah.
not be the biggest crowd of all time, but
And
it's
they
still a good. Mhm.
they have the wonderful accommodations of the days in Jellicoe.
Yes, I figured you would wait till we get to the end for that part.
I'm sorry.
Um,
I'm sorry. I just had to bring it up. You gave me the opening.
I gave you the Iggy, as it will.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, So we talked about this off the air. We might as well talk about it on the air. Mercedes Monet and the Beast Mortos are now dating.
I so I hear. So I hear. I am definitely not the first and won't be the last to make this joke, but yeah, the Beauty and the Beast Mortos.
Aha. But you're the first person I heard say it, so
Thank
we'll,
you.
yeah.
Good enough.
Yeah. Good for them. I mean, I'll
Yeah.
be honest, if I had to pick two people in the AEW locker room to get together, they weren't the two people I would have thought of. But hey, if they're happy, I'm happy for them.
Hey,
Um,
I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but we had a very stupid conversation last week about talented wrestlers procreating together, and if those two chose to rear children together, they could grow up to be some very talented wrestlers.
I hope they look like their mom.
I
Um,
hope they look like their mom, but they have their dad's build.
that I don't know if I agree with. I'm trying to picture like Mercedes Monet's head on the Beast Mortos's body. That
Uh,
I was in the middle of agreeing with you. I'm like, wait a second. That's that might be
I like them
hideous.
thick.
Sure, you are down with the thickness.
I
Um,
am.
I know neither of us are hugely into modern day WWE, but did you watch the Worlds Collide show?
I have not. I do have some intention of watching it when I get to it, but I've not watched it yet.
I've heard it was a pretty damn good show. And I heard Corey Graves on commentary especially did a really good job. He was doing it with Conan, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I heard. And Corey Graves is pretty good as far as that goes. And Conan, I don't know. Conan could be like an entertaining and charming guy when he's on his bullshit.
To me, when Corey Graves is at his worst, and I've said this on the show before, he's the Stephen A. Smith of commentating. I don't enjoy being yelled at while watching TV. And Stephen A. Smith and Corey Graves, when they're at their worst, it's very much they're yelling at me. Why are you chastising me for watching the show?
Yeah, so I heard that the Worlds Collide show was very well received by AAA fans in Mexico, and then AAA followed up a couple of days ago with the Triple Mania Regia show that was apparently very bad. Or I'm sorry, maybe not very bad, but AAA business as usual in a way that AAA fans have been very frustrated with. So I don't know. It's WWE, and that's what they're going to do. They are going to pick the talent that they want and use them on their shows, and then they're going to let AAA wither on the vine and die.
No, I didn't look up any reviews of the show of Triple Mania, so I don't really know. I just know they put the AAA tag titles on Angel and Humberto. And there's nothing wrong with Angel and Humberto. They are two very talented young men, and I'm always up for them getting a bit more. But to me, this felt like when Crockett bought the UWF and Brad Armstrong and Tim Horner went and won the UWF tag team titles, like pretty much immediately. And it's not to say that Brad Armstrong and Tim Horner aren't both very good wrestlers, but they had no credibility in 1987 to be doing that. And again, I'm not really watching SmackDown or following it, but I'm going to bet Los Garzas, as they're now called, aren't suddenly getting pushed to the moon where it's like, okay, I could see why they won the AAA tag team titles.
Yeah, it's because they're brown. I'm sorry.
I'm just more like they're under WWE contract is what I meant.
And no, and they're great. And hey, those guys are good workers, and I got nothing against them winning this match. And hey, it's a neat little historical curiosity that the match in which WWE contracted talent won the AAA Tag Team Championship also contained the TNA Tag Team Champions.
Yes, Ryan and Nick Nemeth. And it's funny because
Ryan Nemeth is a professional wrestling champion in 2025.
I mean, a few years ago, Scott Steiner was one of the TNA Tag Team Champions. I can't even remember who he teamed with, but
Eli Drake.
That's right. I don't know why I kept thinking it was Teddy Hart. I don't know why I kept thinking Teddy Hart, even though I knew it wasn't Teddy Hart. It's like
that would have been tremendous.
Scott Steiner and Teddy Hart.
Yes.
I don't know. Like that does seem like the greatest train wreck that never happened.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So let's go into this week's show, Smoky Mountain 108, February 19th, 1994. Starting off with Bob and Dutch. And we're going to get an appearance by Chris Candido. Let's go to that right now.
Welcome to another exciting action-packed hour of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Professional wrestling the way it used to be and the way you like it. Hi, wrestling fans. I'm Bob Caudle along with Dr. Dirty Dutch Mantell, and we got another exciting hour for all you wrestling fans this week.
Hey, wait a minute. You always jump the gun on me today. I want to draw the name of the man who's going to face Robbie Eagle. Hey, an unlikely champion, but I'm going to do it first today. I'm closing my eyes.
Hey, go ahead. Who are you going to
Right
draw?
here. Here's the name right here. The man to face Robbie Eagle today is Larry Santo, and I got some more to say about that a little later on.
All right, that's going to be our Beat the Champ match, fans. Also, we're going to take a tape look at several major happenings around Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You got a special contract signing.
I have a special contract signing on Down and Dirty. Fans, don't go away. One of the best Down and Dirties I've ever done. Stay tuned and see it.
And the Dirty White Boy, he's got an announcement that's going to set Tammy Fitch on her ear.
Her rear?
Ear, Dutch, E-A-R, on her ear. Yes,
okay.
sir, fans.
Right.
I tell you, that and a lot more that we've got for all you fans during this hour. It's going to be a great hour of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Wait a minute, we got Chris Candido right here, Chris.
This is Larry Santo. I'm sure everybody knows Larry. He has a great win-loss record here on Smoky Mountain TV, and it was the biggest upset of all time when Rob, I can't even say beat me, it took two people to beat me. Well, I know that now Larry has the match against Robbie Eagle for the TV title? I got my money. I'm betting on Larry Santo. I got my money on Larry. I'm going to get back there and teach him in 5 minutes how to beat Robbie Eagle. You ready, Larry?
I am ready, baby. And with this man's support, we're going to be the Smoky Mountain champion. So, Chris, baby, whatever you put down on the line, I'm going to be there, and I'm going to walk away. Beat the champ. You better believe it, baby.
All right, that's going to be our Beat the Champ match, fans. We're about ready now with our action. Let's go to the ring.
So, Trae, do you think Chris Candido was standing back in the locker room and like whoever got pulled, whose name got pulled, he just grabbed them by the arm and ran them to the curtain, waiting for an opening to go to the desk? Yes.
100%.
I don't want to insinuate, of course, that any of this might be rigged, but it's like, what a coincidence. He just happened to be standing off camera with Larry Santo moments before Larry Santo's name got pulled.
Yeah, he was just waiting to grab him. Larry Santo, better promo than a lot of people on the show.
Yes. He is obviously not in the Cornette, Terry Funk, Bullet Bob range.
No,
but I mean, I definitely put a mic in front of his face before your girl, Dirty White Girls again.
Or fucking Horner.
Well, Horner, I guess Horner is on the show, but you know, Horner's not on the show anymore. We're not counting him.
The memory of Horner will live on.
Now, they mentioned it during the first match what it is, but when they said there was going to be a contract signing, did you know what it was? Like what the contract signing was for, not that, oh, they're going to sit there and sign a contract.
I think so, because I kind of vaguely knew it was coming. Like, I think I don't know. I knew what was coming, so I had I didn't think too much about it, but I wasn't like surprised or anything.
I honestly probably should have figured it out, because this brings me to my next point. This is the first Smoky Mountain show that's available on Peacock. And they put up 10 random Smoky Mountain shows that all have Jericho in them. And this was the first one. And so and I knew that, so it should have hit me that, oh, that's what this is. It's the Thrillseekers contract signing. Spoiler alert.
See, I knew you had shown me a screenshot of Peacock for whatever reason. And then also we talked about a show or two ago where we covered like the taping that Cornette brought them to. So I knew they were coming.
Yeah. The shot of the happiest shot you've ever seen of Lance Storm. I don't know what the hell's causing that, but a very happy Lance Storm is coming up in a few weeks on Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And I mean, Lance Storm, I'm sure, is a very happy man. Actually, to be honest, I think he gets married around this time to his wife that he's still married to.
Yes, so, because not to spoil, and I don't know exactly, but I was looking ahead. I was doing some research for the Oh My Godcast, and I was getting into the stuff from this period, and it noted, I think they do the March taping, and then they're gone for a cycle because Jericho has a war tour and Storm goes back to Canada to get married.
A war tour. Like, I know that's what it is, but just, you know,
yes.
It rhymes, so it's funny.
It does.
So we get our opening match. We got a lot of debuts in this match. It is Anthony Michaels and Bobby Blaze versus Timothy Well and Steven Dunn. They are the team of Well Dunn. Now, indeed. Anthony Michaels one day becomes Snot Dudley in ECW, so there's something for you to look forward to there, Trae. And they bring up, and I had to laugh because they bring up Well Dunn's long forgotten first run in the WWF. And how long forgotten are we talking about? The fact that most of the people listening to this who know Well Dunn in the WWF are thinking of their 1995 run. It's like, no, they were in the WWF in 1993 for like a month, maybe 2 months. It's like,
I watched a lot.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of 1993 WWF, and I did not see them at all, I don't think.
Yeah. It's like, it's that little bit of a run. I think they were on Superstars one week, and I think they were on All American Wrestling more often than not.
Yeah.
Um, so this is when they note that the Thrillseekers will be signing their Smoky Mountain contracts, and they're called
Yeah.
the former Canadian Tag Team Champions. And so it made me think about our illustrious Canadian champion, Newton Steffi, who famously won the title from the champion in Canada and appeared one time as a jobber to the Dirty White Boy in like September of 1982 when he was trying to avoid wrestling Horner, and was I don't think was ever seen again. But how can you ever forget a name like Newton Steffi, our Canadian champion?
I didn't even see it,
Uh,
and I'll never forget the name. So it's a possibility that the Dirty White Boy is still the linear Canadian champion.
well, probably not because he did lose a couple matches since then. So I
Yeah, but
guess
he's
we'd
just
have to.
well. I guess I can't spoil the next segment we're going to talk about. So.
Exactly. Plus, he didn't pin Primetime Brian Lee, but again, I
Oh
don't.
yeah,
But Tracy didn't pin White Boy to win the title either. He won a chain match, and then But so we'd have to follow. It depends on what the rules are of the linear title. Do you count
according to the
gimmick
arbitrary
matches?
rules that I set for this, it counts.
Okay, I know some people only count it if you pin or submit the champion, regardless of the stipulations. So that's why we got to be specific here. Anyway, so this was a more competitive enhancement match than what we're used to. Dunn won with what was called a double axe handle on Michaels, but to me it looked more like a flying forearm. And if I knew this was one of the only two matches we're going to get on this show, I wouldn't have thought twice about it being a more competitive than usual enhancement match.
Yeah, it was a clothesline or an axe handle or a something, whatever the fuck. And this was, so we had the debut of a new tag team, and then they mentioned that the Thrillseekers are signing. And then at some point they do name the Rock and Roll Express and the Heavenly Bodies, which told me that the Moondogs and the Bruise Brothers are gone, which is
I I
well, not
know
so good for
I
me because they're coming to ECW.
I don't know if they're going to be on TV, but I know they're both here until at least the end of February. Like doing house shows and whatnot. Are the Moondogs going to ECW? Like I thought they just go back to
No,
USW. I know the
no,
Harris's do.
yeah, the Bruise Brothers go to ECW.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's go to a promo with our winners of the match. Well done.
Well done.
Wasn't that well done, Mr. Garza? That was well done, Steven. I have to tell you, you are just simply divine.
You are the one that's well done, baby. You right there.
It was well done. I agree with you. It was well done.
It was well done, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I
tell you what, it's like this, Mr. Garza. Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You see, it's like this. All you idiots listen, and you listen real good. Me and my partner, Steven Dunn, we've been all around the world. We've held titles everywhere we've been. And we think that Smoky Mountain Wrestling has some of the best tag teams.
That's some of it, baby. They got the best tag teams in the world right now, right here. And that's what we're doing here. But make no mistakes about it. When Well Done comes to town, they walk away with the gold, baby. We're used to wearing the gold. Ain't that right, Mr. Well?
That certainly is, Mr. Dunn. You know, you are just positively, simply well done.
This guy great or what? We're out of here.
All right, fans, you're going to hear a lot from them, I'm sure of that.
I don't want to overthink this gimmick, Trae, but their gimmick is that they tend to say things are well done a lot.
Good job spotting that, Arya. That was well done.
Thank you. This is why were you the Timothy Weldon my Steven Dunn? Or yeah, you were the Timothy Weldon my Steven Dunn. That's why, because we do things that are just well done.
Exactly.
Say it's like your basic intro to the territory promo. Nothing to write home about. So
Yeah.
from there we get our first Sunday Bloody Sunday recap with Primetime Brian Lee versus Dirty White Boy in a Tennessee chain match. Mr. Ron Wright was there in a tuxedo at ringside, and they proceeded to the finish that you see of almost every four-corner match you've ever seen. The heel drags the babyface around, touching the first three corners, but somehow doesn't notice that his opponent is also touching the corner. They get to the third corner, turn the corner towards the fourth. Tammy jumps up to try to interfere, and for the first time in his life, Mark Curtis stops her because at this point, what's the point of even stopping her? And Mr. Ron Wright gets in the ring, loads his foot, and kicks Primetime Brian Lee with a loaded boot. White Boy runs into the corner and wins the Smoky Mountain title. The king is dead. Long live the new king. Dirty White Boy is your champion, Trae.
Hey, the Dirty White Boy can always be my champion. Very happy to see it. Yeah, I also wrote that it was the finish to every chain match ever, and but I did enjoy Mr. Ron Wright loading up his boot and kicking Brian Lee in his big horse head.
I know there were more matches than this, but the one for some reason that always has stuck with me, Uncensored 97, Buff Bagwell versus Scotty Riggs in a strap match. And Buff Bagwell beats him decisively. And when he gets to the fourth corner, he just jumps up and sits on it to win.
I have never seen that match, but I'm sure it'll be on loop when I die and go to hell. So get back to you.
The other finish I always remember of a match, and this one was actually a good match and a good finish, Benoit versus Meng at Slamboree 97. Benoit's gotten Meng down. He goes to the top rope for the diving headbutt, and when he comes down, Meng thrusts up with a Tongan death grip. And he puts Benoit out. Yes. It's a fantastic finish.
Yeah. The one that comes to mind for me is JBL and Eddie.
Where Eddie leaps over him but slams him into the corner.
Yeah.
All right, so White Boy, they talk for like 30 seconds, but then they go to a video clip of the match we saw last week, where Primetime Brian Lee may or may not have accidentally elbowed White Girl in the face. And this was when she was to have to wrestle Tammy. And Tammy took advantage, got in the ring, and pinned her. And I guess we never find out whether or not Brian Lee purposely elbowed her. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. You know, you're 6 foot, whatever, 300 pounds, and you elbowed a small little girl in the face. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to disparage her by calling her a girl, but you know what I mean. You know, she's 2 feet shorter and 200 pounds lighter, and she got elbowed in the face.
Look, she's a dirty white girl.
If that were to happen. Yeah.
She's been elbowed in the face before.
By the way, we've talked about White Girl being, I don't, this is going to sound awful, but this is the gimmick. She was always a little scuzzy. She was dirty. Like, you know, her hair wasn't really brushed. She didn't always wear like nice clothes. Like, if you told us that like she pulled the clothes out of a laundry pile and put them on, we'd believe you. Well, she got dolled up this week.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Her man's the champion. So, you know, it's time to put on the nice clothes, do my hair, all that shit. And
she looked mighty fine. She looked mighty fine in that red dress.
Yep. Let's go to their promo now, White Boy and White Girl. Let's try it again.
Tape, and that's exactly what happened to her, Dirty White Boy.
That's right. You know, see, I went to the commissioners and I went to the board of directors of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and I asked for a particular type of match, and that match is a mixed tag match. Now, me and the Dirty White Girl, we fought together, not only in the ring, but outside the ring, and she can hold her own. So all I got to say is, you better cinch it up real good and tight and come on, because this is far from being over with, because the Dirty White Girl is going to get her hands on Tammy Fitch. White Girl?
It'll be a cold day in hell, I promise you, before you beat me when I'm conscious.
There you have it. And Miss Welch, we're going to teach you a little something. Welch, Fitch, whatever you want to call it. We're going to teach you something that they don't teach in college. We're going to teach you how to take a raw butt kicking.
Mixed tag team action, fans. All right, we'll be back. We'll have more right after this.
You know, I bet they do have a self-defense class in college. maybe not a class per se, but like a group.
Probably, yeah. Far be it for me to question my love's logic here, but I feel like if you're in a wrestling match, it's on you to stay conscious. Like if they beat you because you were unconscious, depending on the circumstances, that might be your fault.
Possibly, yes. I really note this later on when we get to Brian Lee and Tammy. But one thing, and I'm not 100% sure if I like this or not with Smoky Mountain, is they forget the past really quickly. It's like, yeah, White Boy won the title, but we're never going to talk about Sunday Bloody Sunday again. We're on to the next show. Golden Week, Primetime Brian Lee, Tammy Fitch, we got you in a mixed tag match. We're going to kick your ass. And it's like Sunday Bloody Sunday never happened. And I'm not saying I need us to dwell on Sunday Bloody Sunday or dwell on Christmas Chaos, but it's very much that already happened. Not forget it happened, but forget all the promotion we just did because it's in the past now. It's on to the next thing. And I don't know, in some ways it kind of feels like, well, the last month was, I don't say pointless, but it feels like, if you didn't watch the last month and just tuned in now, I don't say you didn't miss anything because obviously you did, but it's like you aren't going to find out what happened before and it doesn't really matter moving forward.
Christmas chaos. It's February. Why would we be dwelling on something that happened in August, Arya? Don't be ridiculous.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to besmirch August's biggest show of the year.
So,
Uh,
what would you prefer? What would be the correct amount of dwelling on Sunday Bloody Sunday for you?
I would like to think like I don't like even like the show to like this show mention okay, yeah, Golden Week is coming up, but this show should be like, okay, White Boy is now coming out, he just won the title, his promo, yes, look to the future, but he should at least mention, man, that was a fucking brutal chain match I just had. Primetime Riley, all the shit I give him, he's a tough motherfucker. It was a bloody, brutal match. It was the toughest match of my life, and I came out the winner, and yada yada yada. But it's like
Okay.
instead, it's like, oh, I'm the champion, and the next 2 minutes, I'm going to tell you about my next match coming up next month. It's like, okay, well, you know.
Okay, I do need to point out something here, and it doesn't excuse it exactly,
Mhm.
but these tapings were the week before Sunday Bloody Sunday. If that
Yes.
if that
Well,
if that has any effect on the issue, which obviously you can do promos in studio and cut them in, and I get what you're saying, but like you know,
but I mean,
you
you're
know
giving it away when you had White Boy come out with the title. It's like
that's
to
true.
your most to your 200 most hardcore fans, White Boy came out with the Smoky Mountain title 5 days before he won it, or 6 days before he won it. It's like I get you had to do what you had to do, but you could have taped
You
that.
know what
You know,
though? Okay, well, okay, I don't know, and I'm not. It is entirely possible because they did shit like this. Like it is entirely possible that they did an angle in the building that had White
mhm.
Boy get possession of the belt so they could do that promo. I don't know that,
It-
but companies
yeah,
did do that shit back then.
yeah. SummerSlam '88. You know,
Right? Yeah.
you, like with
Warrior.
Warrior, where like they
Yeah.
taped it like a week or two beforehand, where like they did two TV tapings, two of those monster TV tapings they used to do, and both nights the first match would be the Warrior pinned Honky Tonk Man doing the Intercontinental title. Then they taped two or three matches with Warrior as champion, and then at the end of the show announced that President Jack Tunney has decided that that didn't count because there was no signed official contract, and so Honky Tonk Man is still the Intercontinental Champion.
But then at SummerSlam, Honky Tonk Man saying, "Get me somebody out here to fight," constituted a binding contract.
Get me someone out here to wrestle. I don't care who it is.
Yeah.
And like the best part was like before the match, they were doing a backstage promo, and I think being kept trying to him who it was, uh, who Just bring out any. I'm the greatest champion, yada yada yada. And are they okay? I'm now going to go way off subject here. Are they taping Dynamite tonight?
No, no, they are okay, there's like several shows at Arena Mexico this week. The Wednesday is the AEW and ROH taping. One of them
Okay.
is Fantasticamania, and one of them is like, whatever the another CMLL
Yeah.
Arena Mexico show with New Japan and AEW and ROH style. There's like a bunch of shows at Arena Mexico this week.
Okay. Because I'm just like I went onto the F4W website, and the main thing is AEW and ROH versus CMLL Arena Mexico live coverage, Bandito versus Mascara Dorada.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So after the White Boy and White Girl promo, we get a recap of the Bullet beating Terry Funk at Sunday Bloody Sunday. So Bullet Bob is the new commissioner. Funk hit a moonsault that I'm pretty sure he was supposed to miss. But they still did a fall, which I'm sure, they're both, veterans. They're both like, oh fuck, I hit it. And Bullet was probably like, okay, just pin me and we'll, do whatever. So he won the fall, and then this is where it kind of gets a little BSy, where it's like, okay, after the fall, there's a 30-second rest period, and then you have the count of 10 to get up, which I get also doesn't kill finishers, but it definitely kills kind of the idea of the match where it's like, I don't have the count of 10 to get up. I have 40
Yes.
seconds to get up.
And that
Um,
look, I love the concept of the Texas Death Match. That is the one thing that can go. The 30-second thing is stupid.
yeah. And Bullet then won with a DDT on the pile of chairs that were in the ring. By the way, there's a funny story because Lance Storm and Chris Jericho were in the crowd watching it, and when Terry Funk was climbing the rope, Lance Storm told the story that he muttered to himself, "Oh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do, a moonsault?" And then the motherfucker went and did a moonsault.
I wish we had the audio of Cornette telling that story. Funk does the moonsault. What are you doing? I don't know, Cordy. I'm not gonna do it again though.
Bullet won with the DD on the pile of chairs. After the match, Cornette attacks the Bullet with a racket, and the Funks do a 2-on-1 on the Bullet. Not sure why Bob Armstrong didn't run in to help at this point. But the Funks, I don't know, were they trying to brand the Bullet, or they were trying to push a pole into his back or something? But then
I
Corny declared.
was like, my impression of it was that they were beating him with the branding iron, but maybe there was more to it.
Corny then declared that the Bullet was going to kiss his feet, and Corny then gave him the chance to do it on his own. And to be honest, what I expected to happen was the Bullet would crawl over and then low blow him or something, and then get his ass kicked by the Funks. But Tracy Smothers and Anthony Michaels, of all people, made the save.
Yeah, that was. Imagine if we hadn't seen Anthony Michaels earlier in the show, we'd have been really fucking confused.
I was really confused about it, and we had seen him earlier in the show.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, he was in an unadvertised match that night, defeating the Hornet in the opener.
And I was just looking at that. Yeah.
Do you want to? Should we say what the rest of the matches on the show were? The rest of the results?
Yeah, sure. You want me to do it?
Oh, well, I got it pulled up here. This is from
Okay.
ProWrestlingHistory.com. Chris Candido pinned Tracy Smothers. The Furnaces beat the Heavenly Bodies in a football helmet on a pole match when Doug pinned Pritchard. The Bullet beat Terry Funk in a Texas Death match. The Rock and Roll Express beat the Heavenly Bodies by DQ. The Dirty White Boy beat Brian Lee in a chain match to win the SMW title. And then in the main event, and like I said, it was either going to be the main event or the opener, the Bruise Brothers beat the Moondogs in a steel cage match when Rex was pinned. Because, I mean, it's a pain in the ass to put the cage up and take it down. So it either had to be the first match or the last match.
I would have done it first.
Yeah.
But something that I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Just something I feel like we should mention because I don't know if it'll ever come up otherwise. We actually had 2 tag team title changes the weekend that the show aired. Were you aware of these?
Or somewhere else?
They were 2 cards for Midwest Territorial Wrestling, and on
was that when they switched the U.S. Junior Heavyweight title back and forth?
No. The Rock and Roll beat the Bodies for the tag titles on the 18th, and then lost them back on the 19th. Won them in Port Huron, Michigan, and lost them in Taylor, Michigan. So weirdly, the last 3 tag team title changes were all outside the Smoky Mountain area, Boston and Michigan.
And it's funny, I don't know why, because I'm looking at Smoky Mountain. They had shows on the 18th and 19th. It featured Brad and Bart Batten got booked, which, hey, good for Brad and Bart Batten, for the Batten twins. But yeah. Curtis Thompson. What's in that Firebreaker chip?
That sounds probable.
He was brought in to do a job to Bobby Blaze in Hickory, North Carolina, at Ford High School. Yeah.
How about that?
That might be the only time you ever hear them on this show.
I wonder if young John Reap was in the audience.
I don't know who that is, but sure.
He's a stand-up comedian. He won Last Comic Standing at one point, and he's probably best known for the Dodge commercials. That thing got a Hemi. That's him.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. It was a big part of his comedy that he was from Hickory, North Carolina.
Well, you know how every week on this show there's like a 15-minute period where it's like nothing but promo. Let's go to the beginning of that with Brian Matthews, who apparently had nothing better to do on Valentine's Day than hang out in the Smoky Mountain Wrestling offices where Bullet Bob has retaken his position.
Hi, wrestling fans. I am Brian Matthews reporting for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. We are at an office building in downtown Knoxville. It is Monday, February the 14th. It's about 15 after 9, and there has been a called meeting of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Board of Directors with the new commissioner, Bullet Bob Armstrong, and we understand that the fur is flying and he's making some changes in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. What in the... Oh, my God.
But Mr. Armstrong, what are you... That's it for you, brother.
Jeez.
That ain't all either, brother.
Oh, my God.
Well, that's just half of it.
Jeez.
And you stay there. All right, brother.
Man.
That's your crooked board of director right there that you and your mama paid for out on his ear, and he's going to have a sore fanny to boot. There's going to be some changes made here, I'll tell you that much. And 2 things I've done personally. Now I'm going to be able to be at my own family reunion in Marietta, Georgia, and I've already signed and been approved by the rest of the board of directors for a cage match 1-on-1, Cornette, me and you. And for all you folks in the Smoky Mountain area that have had to put up with him these last few months, Bullet Bob going to take care of business. Now, he was pretty smart. I couldn't get him 1-on-1. He said, I'll do it in the handicap. Let me pick a partner. So he said he's going to pick Redneck, the captain himself, Dick Murdoch. Well, take him. Bring him on. I'll wrestle both of you. I'll do whatever I have to do to get to you. And I want to show everybody in these Smoky Mountains how to drop that hog, brother. I may have to drop 2 of them, but to get to you, Cornette, I'll have it done, brother. And I ain't through yet. There's some more things I'm taking care of as we speak.
Fans, there you have it. Bullet Bob Armstrong is causing chaos with the board of directors of Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Okay, so it's nice that Bullet Bob is back. Got the hat on. He's got his tie. I think here's the problem. And I know at this point, the board of directors, we're just fucked at this point. But I think they need to be worried about potential lawsuits. He cannot just walk in and grab one of the board of directors and throw them out of the room and throw their belongings out the door with them.
So the commissioner can just summarily dismiss a member of the board? How does that work?
That seems like something like, you know, This seems like something Cornette would have been fired for when he was commissioner for a day.
I would assume that the board appointed the commissioner and not vice versa.
Yeah.
Who do you think? Do you think if we asked him, we could get him to put up on Cornette's Collectibles copies of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Constitution?
I was about to ask who he was because Bullet Bob Armstrong is dead, but thankfully I figured out that you didn't want Bullet Bob to put up copies of the Smoky Mountain.
Not on Cornette's Collectibles.
Yes, maybe on Bullet Bob's Collectibles. Ask BG, maybe he's got them lying in the attic or something. All right. So, I mean, you heard it. That is Bullet Bob, and he's looking forward to being at his own family reunion. I like to think that, like, if he would have lost that match, that, like, okay, fine, he couldn't be at the Smoky Mountain show, apparently, even if he bought a ticket, but, like, they couldn't have had, like, a family reunion at his house. Like, nope, we can only have the family reunion at the arena.
And I realized shortly, and I'm sure you did too, this Armstrong family reunion on March 10th in Marietta, that would be the time where Vince McMahon called Cornette and said, hey, I hear you got a show in Marietta, pal. You need any talent?
Yes. We're going to get to that in a couple minutes. But you may have heard that Bullet Bob's going to wrestle Jim Cornette and Dick Murdoch in a cage match during his own family reunion. That seems like a weird time to have a family reunion. Is the day you have a cage match. But let's go to the Jim Cornette promo, who's also going to mention a big deal, especially since Bullet is booking himself in matches now.
Well, Bob Armstrong, I guess it's your idea of a little joke. I guess that's your sick sense of humor that the paperwork about my appeal to get the decision reversed and have you replaced as commissioner gets accompanied by a cameraman following me in the locker room to get my comments on exactly what's going on in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. I did everything I could do. I did everything in my power. That's exactly right. To make sure that you'd never be the commissioner of Smoky Mountain Wrestling again. But you foiled me again when you beat Terry Funk in Knoxville. Now, not only have you assumed the commissionership again, but you've also got past a little ruling that you shoved through with all your good buddies that you shake hands with just like that on the board of directors, saying that whenever I need to put my foot down and right some wrongs, I can wrestle now as well as be commissioner. That smacks to me of conflict of interest, Bullet Bob Armstrong. I'll tell you what it smacks to me of: bribery. And I'm going to prove that you're a crooked politician one way or another yet. And I'll tell you something else I'm going to do. I am going to get Dick Murdoch. Yeah, the rumors that you've heard are true. Because if you want me, brother, the only way you're going to get me is in a handicap match where I've got a partner, because I've never claimed to be a wrestler. But remember this, Armstrong, the men that I manage and me put you in a hospital once before, and we can do it again. Captain Redneck beat you right in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3 in the Knoxville Civic Coliseum on Christmas night. And he's one of the baddest men in wrestling and one of the baddest men walking the face of the planet. So that's the way it's going to be at Golden Week 94. Me and Dick Murdoch in a handicap match against you, Bob Armstrong. And one way or another, I'm going to see that Murdoch gives you that brain buster, breaks that big fat neck of yours, and sends you back to the hospital and relieves you once again as commissioner of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And as for the Armstrong family reunion, Marietta, Georgia, Cobb Civic Center, on Thursday night, March the 10th, I realize you're attempting to mutilate me. But they don't call me Houdini Cornette for nothing. And one way or another, Armstrong, I will live to see the following day. But I'm not sure that you will have a good family reunion, because it might be the last time the whole gang's all together ever again.
At least, Cornette was nice about it. He's like, well, have a good family reunion. We may break your neck that night, but, have a good family reunion. See the kids. See the grandkids if you have any.
Yeah. I just hope Joel can make it. I also hope I just hope that we get more Dick Murdoch promos from his porch in Colorado.
Yes. I don't know if it's still snow. Well, I guess it's February, so I'm sure it's still
February, yeah.
Yeah. So I gotta say, I feels like they're really I don't know how to say this. It feels like they're really working around this thing by saying, oh, Bob can be the commissioner and he can wrestle from now on. That really does feel like a conflict of interest.
Well, apparently when when the board of directors have to live in fear that the commissioner will bodily throw them from the building, apparently he can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah. I feel like, again, they're setting themselves up for lawsuits because remember, you know, Tammy Fitch, the young lady who sued Smoky Mountain Wrestling for sexual discrimination, she sued them while Bullet Bob was the commissioner. And apparently, because we never hear about it anymore, she dropped the lawsuit when he wasn't commissioner.
You think that's what happened? Because she liked Cornette.
Yeah.
Did she drop it that day and then regret it immediately?
I'm gonna bet then, but I mean, I guess it depends on if the courts decided she wasn't allowed to refile it, because I mean that could be an issue there too, because who knows if she's able to refile it at this point.
I don't know. That might be in frivolous lawsuit territory.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get Stephen P. New on this case. The only lawyer I'm aware of. Good old Stephen P. New.
The Beast Mortos is about to start his law practice.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not just skilled at wooing lovely women. He's also very skilled in the laws of the land.
Joe. We can get him on.
There you go.
We probably could afford his rates too.
Yeah, somebody pointed out that in lieu of trying to do another wrestling game, AEW should just do like a version of Phoenix Wright, Attorney at Law, with the Beast Mortos.
That would be something. Indeed, be something.
It would.
All right, so let's go to Dutch Mantel complaining, and Tracy Smothers is going to walk up, and then we're going to like the most random cameo of all time after Tracy Smothers talks.
Robbery.
I'm
It was
sure
all
that doesn't
robbery,
sit too
Bob.
well
You
with you,
sit
Dutch.
there and you can do all this liberal talk you want to talk about. Bob Armstrong is a crook. He's a thief. He's finagled himself in there. He's finagled this. He's finagled that. Wait a minute.
Hold on just a second. I don't mean to interrupt everything, but Chris Candido, I heard you running your mouth out there, and you's hollering how you're going to put your money. You got some money you want to put down on Larry Santos? Well, right here is the TV champion. Well, how about a hand for Robbie Eagle here? You a betting man. You want to put some money down? Well, let me tell you something, big boy. I got $2,500 right here on this young man right here, and I'm saying he can beat your boy Larry Santos. So put up or shut up. He's going to retain the TV title, or we're going to have us a little side bet, big boy. All right, how about that?
Ooh, Dutch, what about that? $2,500, he says.
Okay, $2,500.
He has thrown out the challenge to Chris Candido. I don't know.
Let's see if he picks it up.
That's a mighty big challenge. Fans, we'll be back right after this.
Hey, I'll take that bet.
Hi, I'm Double J, Jeff Jarrett. And Thursday, March the 10th at the Cobb County Civic Center, Armstrong boys, old Double J, not only am I going to give you the wrestling lesson of your life, but old Double J is going to give you the singing lesson of your life right there at the Armstrong family reunion. No, the Double J reunion.
Okay. It's funny because like you said, we kind of knew that was happening, but I was not expecting a Jeff Jarrett cameo on this show.
Who's Double J reuniting with?
I don't know. He probably had matches with White Boy, Tracy Smothers, when they came to the Memphis territory.
Oh, that'd be tremendous, actually.
Maybe that's how he meets the Harrises. Maybe that's how they become really good friends. Is he met the Harrises at the Smoky Mountain show.
You think this is where he met Brian?
Well, Brian wasn't he in Memphis by this point too? Maybe. Oh, who knows? Maybe because I don't know when Brian actually started wrestling.
A couple of months ago, that one match. Remember?
Oh yes, and then there was that one guy who kind of looked, acted, and sounded like him, but we don't talk about him on this show anymore.
That guy had a dark secret.
Yeah. So Tracy Smothers and Robbie Eagle, who he's a babyface jobber this week. I feel like every time he wrestles, he's usually the heel jobber, but I guess it doesn't matter when you're a jobber.
It doesn't.
And by the way, where the hell did Tracy get $2,500 from? I know Candido said he was going to put money on it. Candido never said how much. Candido may have been like, $20. Let's put $20 on this match. Where the hell's Tracy coming out with $2,500? And so our illustrious double champion is now forced to match that.
Now look, you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, and know when to run. You never count your money while you're sitting at the table, because there'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. And Candido learned a lesson in gambling.
Spoiler alert for the end of this show. From 30 some odd years ago. So yes, Jeff Jarrett is going to randomly be at the Armstrong family reunion and give the Armstrongs a wrestling lesson and a singing lesson. Okay, I know we said we wish Sunday Bloody Sunday was released. I wish this show had been released so we could see the singing lesson that Jeff Jarrett gave the Armstrongs. Maybe this is how him and Brian become such good friends.
It took with one of them at least.
Exactly. And the student surpassed the teacher.
Yeah.
But let's go to Down and Dirty with Dutch right now with the big contract signing. And let's go to that right now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Down and Dirty with Dutch. I am John Bobbitt, and what are you doing with that now? This week, ladies and gentlemen, it was announced that Smoky Mountain Wrestling has signed a tag team to come in here soon, and they're described by experts as probably one of the greatest teams of all time, and more than likely the team of the 90s. Let's go right now to a contract signing of the Thrillseekers, Lance Storm and Chris Jericho. Watch this, and we'll be right back. Okay, fans, a momentous moment in Smoky Mountain Wrestling. We are here today to finalize and officialize a long-term contract between a brand new team that's coming into the area, the Thrillseekers and Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Now, in attendance today, of course, to my left, Bob Armstrong, the commissioner of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And to my right over here, you will notice Tim Horner, who is the event coordinator for Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Next to him is Pam Lawson, who is the marketing director. Next to Pam is Kat Collins, the media relations director of Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Then Sandy Scott, who is the general manager. And also on the end down here, we have Mark Curtis, who is the senior referee in attendance today. And without further ado, I would like to turn the proceedings over now to the commissioner, Bob Armstrong.
Thank you very much, Dutch. It's a proud moment for me personally, as well as for Smoky Mountain Wrestling, to have the Thrillseekers come here. To come here, they vacated the tag team titles in Canada. This is their first venture into the United States, and the films I've seen, I think this is going to be the hottest team to come down the pike in about the past 20 years. In other words, I think this team is good to go, Dutch.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, let's go to the gentleman, the Thrillseekers. Gentlemen, your comments on coming to Smoky Mountain Wrestling.
Well, everybody knows Smoky Mountain Wrestling is the most tag team rich promotion in the world today. Teams like the legendary Rock and Roll Express and the Heavenly Bodies. And that's why Chris and myself are happy to be here, so we can prove ourselves against the best and show the people that we are the tag team of the future.
That's right, Lance. We're very impressed by the way that all the officials in Smoky Mountain and all the referees and everybody have treated us here, and we're very excited to be coming to the promotion. Because we want to show everybody out there in Tennessee and all the surrounding areas wrestling Thrillseeker style, because we're going to go 100 miles an hour, non-stop. We like to live on the edge, and we're going to show everybody out there that we can do that. We're going to rock Smoky Mountain Wrestling, and we're going to rock America. Watch out, people, because we're coming to your town.
Okay, so no event would be complete without the signing. So, guys, if you put your John Hancocks on those, and then we'll get Bob Armstrong's on it, and then it'll be official. Now, Mr. Armstrong, you finalized the deal?
Be happy to, Dutch. That's it, brother.
It is official right now, ladies and gentlemen. The Thrillseekers are on their way officially in Smoky Mountain.
Okay. So, this is not the greatest Chris Jericho and Lance Storm promo you've ever heard in your life. Obviously, they both get better, even if your opinion of Lance, for instance, on the mic is pretty low. They both get a lot better at this shit.
Lance isn't exactly super loquacious, but by 2000 and from then on, like, he's effective at doing what he needs to do on the mic.
Indeed. And by the way, during that promo, I pulled up the episode on Peacock just to see what was on and what was missing. And it's mostly the local promos and one other major cut that we'll talk about later.
Oh, tremendous.
But yeah, you marked out because you messaged me the other day that Pam was on Smoky Mountain. I was like, I was busy. I wasn't paying attention. I didn't even read what you said. Like, somehow in my head, you wrote Margie is on Smoky Mountain this week.
No. I think I just wrote Pam is on SMW.
Yeah. That's what you wrote. And it didn't even occur to me that you wrote Pam. Like, cause again, in my head, I heard, Margie. Pam,
not too bad. I would. And apparently I wouldn't be the only one.
She was not an unattractive woman, just like, again, she wasn't so attractive that, they really needed to go behind closed doors to do whatever they were doing. And
well, I think it's considered improper to do that where people can see it.
I asked you this earlier. Do you think Horner was feeling her up while they were standing back there?
If we could see his hands, if we couldn't, almost definitely. So I barely listened to the promos this time around because I was having another dumb train of thought, which resulted in. So Dutch says that certain people are saying that they're one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and I'm wondering, well, who were these experts? And then I'm trying to remember that who wrote the letters for Lance Storm's U.S. work visa, and I knew it was Cornette and Meltzer, and apparently the other two were the NWA's Robert Trobick and J.J. Dillon. And I am very annoyed because when I Googled it, I found a link on Reddit to an old tweet that Lance shared of these letters, and they're no longer available because he's since deleted his Twitter.
Oh, I knew he stopped using Twitter. I didn't know he deleted them. But because actually there's a thing coming up that I wish I would have notated it because Lance once said, I remember posted on Twitter one time that it was the anniversary of when he got his U.S. work visa, and he's like, he wasn't allowed to work any matches in Smoky Mountain until he got it, and he got it in like the middle to the end of March. And the funny thing is, he had already taped a bunch of TV matches before he got it.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't count if they don't air until after he gets it, right? That's all.
There you go. He didn't get paid to do his work.
I'm sure the statute of limitations is up on that.
I had to ask this because they're Canadian. I know Jericho was born in the U.S., but do you think someone had to explain to them who John Hancock was?
Maybe. Entirely possible. I don't know. Yeah, because Jericho wouldn't have gone to school in the U.S. or anything. So
no.
Yeah, I don't know. Does your average Canadian know who John Hancock is?
I don't know. If we have any Canadian listeners out there, and I can't imagine why we wouldn't. I imagine the entire country listens to this show. Do you know who John Hancock is? In between telling us how much we suck, let us know. All right. From here, let's go to Primetime Brian Lee and a sobbing Tammy Fitch, because they got something to say.
Hey, fans, right back here, I think you can tell that Tammy Fitch is not very excited about a mixed tag match.
It's not funny.
I don't want to do this, Brian. I don't want to have this match. I'm not a wrestler. I shouldn't be in the ring. I'm a student, for God's sake. I don't want to do this. What's going on? No. She's gonna like bite me and give me rabies or something. And I don't know what to do, Brian. Brian, I don't know what to do. Because I don't want to have this match. I can't have this match, Brian. Brian, I'm not a wrestler. Tammy, come here. Brian, I don't want to do this.
as bad as it seems.
That's not. Oh, you're going to take care of it. Oh, boy, I was going to say, she is really hysterical, Vince. That's all about the mixed tag match with a dirty white boy and a dirty white girl. Right now, let's...
Okay. So this was the moment where I was like, why are we forgetting that Sunday Bloody Sunday happened? Not because Tammy shouldn't be upset that she's now in a mixed tag match. But when we went to it and she's crying and pouting, I'm like, she's crying and pouting because they lost the Smoky Mountain title. That never came up. And that's kind of was like, man, we're just forgetting that Sunday Bloody Sunday even happened.
I get the impression that Tammy has some experience throwing tantrums. She was very good at it.
Oh, yeah. You know, they say the best people in wrestling are the people who take your natural personality and turn it up to an 11. I would say Tammy Fitch has thrown a tantrum in her life.
I would guess so.
So yeah, a mixed tag match, and I mean, there's a reason why she should be upset about that, no doubt. I just thought that at some point during the sobbing, it should have been mentioned Bryan lost the title. And you could say, oh, well, you know, it was taped 5 days before the show, but like we mentioned earlier, White Boy came out with the belt. Now, it's possible, and I don't think this is the case because it requires a little extra post-production that Corny didn't like to do, if all possible. It's possible that original White Boy promo was pre-taped and they just, or like, not pre-taped, obviously the whole damn show is pre-taped, but it was taped before nobody and they added in crowd noise later. It's possible, but I don't see it happening.
Well, if arguing with my friend Arya has taught me anything, it's that if there is no evidence that something didn't happen, that means it did happen.
No, I never said that, because there's no evidence that something didn't happen means it could have happened.
Okay.
You know. Anyway, up next, they didn't show us the Sunday Bloody Sunday match. Instead, they showed us the final few minutes of a 2 out of 3 fall match between the Heavenly Bodies and the Rock and Roll Express in Harlan, Kentucky, which allegedly went to a 1-hour time limit draw. And suddenly, that New Japan booking from a few months ago doesn't seem so bad, because who was it, Gabe Kidd? Was it Ishii?
Oh, yeah, they would do a 30-minute draw to set up a 30-minute Iron Man match.
Yes, at least this time we got 2 falls out of it, but still, the follow-up to a match that went to a 1-hour time limit draw. Let's go to the Rock and Roll Express, and then that's going to segue into a Heavenly Bodies promo.
Heavenly Bodies, now you see what it's like to go an hour inside that square circle. You see, just a few more minutes in that match, those belts would have been ours, brother, because your tongue was hanging down to the ground and you was gasping for air. Well, we're going to have a match, and we want to have a match to separate the boys from the men. You call yourself the true Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions? Well, brother, we want a match that goes for an hour. We want a match with you, Pritchard, to show you and Opie Taylor that we are the true Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions. You see, you can come out here and run your mouth, but you got to prove it when you step inside that ring, just like we did tonight. You see an hour pass by, and to us, brother, we had another hour in us, and you were down to your last breath. You were sucking for air. So, boys, come on. Prove to us that you are the true Smoky Mountain Tag Team Champions. We don't think so. So be ready. We're going to ask for a match with an hour time limit, brother. And before that match is over with, we're going to go all night long. And that's the in and out of the ring.
All right, Jim Cornette, the Heavenly Bodies right here. 2 out of 3 falls to a draw with a Rock and Roll.
That's exactly right, because as you can see from that piece of videotape they just showed right there, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson, like the shameless cowards that they are, ran from the Heavenly Bodies for 58 minutes and 30 seconds. And finally, even though we cornered them in the last couple of seconds and were pounding their brains out, they had run for too long, and the match went to a draw. But let me explain something to you, Rock and Roll, and I want you to listen real good. You went to Smoky Mountain Wrestling. You came up with the idea for this marathon match. That's exactly what they've got signed, a contract for a marathon match. The match has to go an hour. It's got to go 60 minutes, because if you quit, then you're the losers, and whoever wins the most falls in the course of that hour is the winner of the match. The tag team title is going to be on the line, and you think you've done something rock and roll. The only thing you've done is dig yourself an early grave, because these men right here can go an hour, brother, and then some. Just ask any woman in the Smoky Mountain area, right, Tom?
From the very inception of Smoky Mountain Wrestling, the heavenly bodies have ruled the tag team scene. Whether it took us 5 minutes, whether it took us 10 minutes, or whether it's going to take us an hour, we're going to show everyone in Smoky Mountain Wrestling who the real marathon men are, huh, Cons?
You're exactly right. You know, a long time ago, they wrote a song about my cousin and I, the 60-minute men. That's him and I, because we can go 60 minutes all night long.
And let me explain something to you, rock and roll. I want you to dig back in your memory. I want you to think all the times that the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express went 60 minutes to a draw. The times that the Rock and Roll Express went 60 minutes with Ole and Arn Anderson. I was there and I saw it. The times the Rock and Roll Express went 60 minutes with the Russians. I was there and I saw it. I know every one of your tricks. I know every one of your moves. And I know the ways you can be beat. So when this marathon match comes about, the final result is going to be 14 falls for the heavenly bodies and a big fat goose egg for the Rock and Roll Express. Because believe me, I got enough aggravation in my life. I don't need these two punks on my trail like this. We're going to finish this thing once and for all, brother. And in the process, we will retain the Smoky Mountain Wrestling Tag Team title. Yes.
All right, fans, that's going to be a marathon match.
Okay, so the Rock and Roll Express want a match that they don't even name, but eventually we find out it's a marathon match, which, as you can tell from context, that it's an Iron Man match with a different name. And I'll be honest, I'm not sure what the origins of the marathon match were. Because I know that Brett talked in his book about him and Flair did some in '93 before Flair left. But like, I don't know, what was the origin of an Iron Man match? Do you know?
For some reason, I had in my head that it was a Pat Patterson thing, but I think that's just because anything that was like a WWF thing in the late '80s or early '90s was a good idea. Was a Pat Patterson thing.
Oh, and they did. I think Shawn Michaels talked about how the Rockers and the Brainbusters would do marathon matches in the late '80s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't actually know.
Yeah, I mean, it might be something to ask Corny or ask Dave, see if either of them know, or tag them both and see if they can compete to see who gets the answer first.
Let's just see if they start fighting.
Oh, I think they block each other, so it's... I don't know.
Well,
it's
Twitter. That doesn't change anything anymore.
So, when I was originally watching this, I didn't even think of the Gabe Kidd Ishii feud. I brought up how, remember in 2016 when Roman Reigns and AJ Styles had an Extreme Rules match on pay-per-view?
Yeah.
And that built to an Extreme Rules match on the next pay-per-view? That's what this kind of reminded me of.
Okay, no, that was like the first one was like the fucking Shawn and Vader thing where they did 3 finishes, and then that built to the Extreme Rules match.
But by the end, because they kept restarting it as, oh, now it's no count, oh, now it's no disqualification. By the end, it was an Extreme Rules match.
I remember at the time people liking that match, and I hated it.
Roman and AJ?
The one with all the fucking dumb finishes.
I don't remember disliking either of them. I don't think I've watched either of them since the day they happened, but I remember thinking they were both good matches at the time. I'd have to go back and rewatch it. I don't really remember anything specific. I do remember one thing, and Michael Cole saying that this was the first time AJ Styles wrestled for the WWE Championship, and I'm like, literally his first match was the Royal Rumble when the title was on the line. But that doesn't count, I guess.
Yeah.
So, okay. I guess I know. I can't say I guess. I know what he was trying to say, but Jimmy Del Rey's comment, I can go 60 minutes all night long. That just doesn't sound right. It sounds like I get what he's saying, but it doesn't sound right. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Okay. You sound disappointed that you know what I'm saying.
It's oh, I love it. I don't know. You caught me. You caught me on an I don't have the energy to nitpick grammar day.
Oh Lord. All right, so then we go to our main event, which is also the second match on the show. I mean, it's not the second match you include. Like we had the end of the Heavenly Bodies, we had the end of Bullet Bob, we had the end of Primetime Brian Lee and Dirty White Boy. But it's like we had two matches that were taped in Jellicoe, Tennessee at this TV taping for this television show. And one was a straight up enhancement match with three new guys, and the other was a battle between two enhancement wrestlers in the main event. Beat the Champ TV champion Robbie Eagle with Tracy Smothers versus Larry Santo with Chris Candido in his corner. Now, with all that said, I liked how they did this match because we always talk about how the Beat the Champ formula, it's so predictable. You get a new champion and they wrestle enhancement wrestlers for 2 or 3 weeks, and then you bring in the people who they're going to have an actual match with. I guess in some way, that's what you're doing here with Robbie Eagle. You're having him wrestle an enhancement talent, but obviously Robbie Eagle is also an enhancement talent. And so I like that it's something that's a little different. And I also like that they brought in Tracy and Candido to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, this didn't feel like two enhancement wrestlers wrestling each other. This felt like a TV main event because it was for the TV championship, and it is like a significant storyline on the show.
And I noted that the crowd is more into this than you'd think. But I do have to ask you, what hypothetical match do you think would be best? This Robbie Eagle Larry Santo match that we got between the real Robbie Eagle and the real Larry Santo, a 1994 Robbie Eagles versus the real El Hijo del Santo, and Robbie Eagle was 4 years old at this point, or 2025 real Robbie Eagles versus the 61-year-old real El Hijo del Santo. And I guess unlike 4-year-old Robbie Eagles, El Hijo del Santo is wrestling at 61 years old. He just had a match last month.
Yeah. Of the choice, well, I'm really torn. Okay, so 61 in 2025, which means in 1994 he was, help me, 30.
Yeah.
Okay, 30-year-old El Hijo del Santo against 4-year-old Robbie Eagles. Or 35-year-old Robbie Eagles against Robbie Eagles is really good. I think that 2025 Robbie Eagles against El Hijo del Santo would be at least decent.
By the way, El Hijo del Santo just wrestled last month for a company called Todo X El Todo in San Luis Potosí, Mexico. He was in a best 2 or 3 falls match. He, L.A. Park, and Santo Jr., I'm assuming that's his son, defeated Dr. Wagner Jr., El Hijo del Fishman, and Fuerza Guerrera, who has to be 60 plus himself. Yeah.
So El Hijo del Fishman, that's would that be Fishman and Lola Gonzalez's child?
Do
we know?
So. I mean, I'd assume so. But Fuerza Guerrera, by the way, is 71.
How about that?
How about that? Hijo del Fishman is 35. So, I mean, it obviously isn't real Fishman. And actually, Fishman is his trainer, shockingly enough.
Oh, okay.
And actually last month, and again, I don't follow the Lucha news, but this is kind of noteworthy. El Hijo del Santo retained his mask in a mask versus mask match. It was one of those things where it started with like a 5-way match, and then the 2 losers advanced, and then
yeah.
continue, or the
Yeah.
losers of the match advanced. It was L.A. Park originally defeated El Hijo del Santo, Fuerza Guerrera, Misterioso Jr., and Ultimo Dragon. That turned into a tag match where Fuerza Guerrera and Ultimo Dragon defeated El Hijo del Santo and Misterioso Jr. And then a 2 out of 3 falls mask versus mask match, which went less than 9 minutes, where El Hijo del Santo defeated Misterioso Jr.
Wow. El Hijo del Santo has been like having a very slow retirement tour that I guess he's going to milk forever. But allegedly he's retiring at some point.
Lord. I mean, Fuerza Guerrero, like I said, is 71, so his retirement tour is going a little slower.
Yeah.
All right. So this match itself, it was basic. I mean, it was a match between 2 opening match guys.
Right.
Candido tried to help Santo to win. The finish saw Eagle go for a sunset flip, but Candido jumped on the apron and grabbed Santo's arms to keep him from going over. Tracy got in the ring, which in theory should have been a disqualification, even though I know Candido got involved, but he was technically on the apron. But Tracy got full into the ring, kicked at Candido and Santo's arms, and Santo got rolled up, and Robbie Eagle retains the Beat the Champ TV title.
Look, Candido screwed himself here. Tracy showed no inclination to intervene until Candido did. But yeah, as I wrote here, there was nothing at all wrong with this match, except that it was Robbie Eagle and Larry Santo in a TV main event.
Yes, it was. I don't know if it would have been, well, I mean, the match itself would have been better, but I don't know if it would have made any more sense if you had Candido and Tracy wrestling with Robbie Eagle and Larry Santo on the outside cheering them on.
That would have been confusing.
Yes. Actually, and I can't say I knew this would happen, but when I was scrolling through the Observer either last week or the week before when Dave was posting the results of this, I saw that something like this happened, but I thought because when you're not reading something, you're just trying to scan through it, like bits stick in your head. So I thought what happened was Chris Candido was wrestling on behalf of Larry Santo, and Tracy Smothers was wrestling on behalf of Robbie Eagle.
That makes even less sense than what happened.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what in my head happened. Anyway, remember that random ass Jeff Jarrett promo earlier? Let's go to something just as random ass.
Hi, this is Lex Luger, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all my old friends and fans at the Marietta Cobb County Civic Center Thursday, March 10th for the Armstrong family reunion.
Okay. Was that the how many takes did they have to take to get that? Because Lex Luger sounded like he was under gunpoint to do that promo.
Do you think that he took the Lex Express to Marietta?
I do not think. I think he took the Lex Express to Marietta the same way he took the Lex Express to a rundown, garbage-filled lot in Detroit.
Hey, that was the Palace at Auburn Hills. You show some respect.
Hey, the Palace of Auburn Hills is in Auburn Hills, not Detroit.
Is that how Hoffman Estates is in Chicago?
Yes.
It is. Here's the thing. Having been to Hoffman Estates, Illinois, it is Chicago until it's midnight and you're one of several thousand people trying to get a fucking Uber.
Yes. Honestly, Las Vegas. I don't know where Las Vegas actually is because it felt like the entire city was in paradise, which, as Dana White informed us on the WrestleMania pre-show, is an unincorporated land right outside of Las Vegas. So to be perfectly honest, I got no idea where I was. I was somewhere between Las Vegas and paradise for a week. Okay.
So as somebody who has spent too much time thinking about this shit, all of the addresses in the unincorporated census-designated place of Paradise, Nevada have Las Vegas addresses. As does, let's see, Sunrise Manor, which is where Sam's Town Live is. I've been there. There's been a lot of wrestling shows there. Like, they're all Vegas addresses. And while I understand that, whatever, this is paradise, when I go, when I do results and everything, my rule of thumb has long been I go with what the post office says. So, as far as I'm concerned, you were in Vegas.
Sounds good. Honestly, the first time I realized that pro wrestling may be full of shit was when I looked in PWI and saw that Survivor Series 1995 was not in Washington, D.C. It was in Landover, Maryland.
Yeah.
That's technically where the arena is.
Yes.
So, by the way, before we continue, I need to let you know, Trae, that hotel accommodations for Smoky Mountain Wrestling this week were provided by the Days Inn Jellicoe, where you'll find clean, spacious rooms with phone and cable TV. Non-smoking rooms are available. Located on the mountainside in the Cumberland Mountain Range on I-75 and US 25 West in Jellicoe.
They earn every bit of their 2 stars.
Yes. And I should note that this is the thing that got edited off of Peacock.
Oh, travesty. That business is still trying. There are people still trying to make a living running the Days in Jellicoe, and you're just going to cut it out. Just disgusting behavior by the editors at Peacock.
So just to confirm, because you're the person who always looks these things up, the Days in Jellicoe is still there?
It was when I did this, when we did it last year. I have not rechecked.
Oh, I'll be honest. I didn't remember who it was the Days in Jellicoe. I mean, I know that they do this hotel plug once in a while.
It was indeed the Days in Jellicoe. Well, when you have such a quality establishment that treats you and your talent so well, why would you go anywhere else?
Maybe they treat your tablet well too.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you leave your tablet in a hotel and you got to go back and get it. This happened to me last week or a couple weeks ago.
Exactly. All right. So sadly, our double champion Chris Candido is not pleased with the results of our main event. Let's go to him right now.
And here he is, $2,500 poorer right now, Chris Candido.
I don't believe it. I want Smothers out here. That's my money. That's my money. I want him out here right now. I want that money up again. I want Tracy Smothers to put that money up again. That's my money. I'm the world champion. That's not that much money to me. I know it is to you, Bob.
Isn't that a poor loser?
Well, no, I'm not a loser. Whoa.
All right, here comes Tracy's mother. All right.
You're gonna put that money up, Smothers. That's still my money. But you're gonna put the money up next week. Come on.
You want another shot at this money? Is that right?
Yes. Put the money up. Are you gonna put it up or not?
Maybe I will, and maybe I won't.
What kind of an answer is that? You gonna put it up or not?
Chris, do you know how you keep an idiot in suspense?
How?
I'll let you know next week.
What?
All right, fans, we'll find out next week about the $2,500. Next week right here, 6-man tag team action, the Rock and Roll with Bobby Blaze against the Bodies, Killer Kyle, and we'll take a look at the Thrillseekers. All of that and more right here next week. Until then, so long for now.
It's important to note that he did not say the Thrillseekers will be in action next week. Just that we'll take a look at the Thrillseekers. So everyone listening to this knows exactly what's coming.
So I'm in suspense until next week. I can't wait to find out if Tracy's going to put the money on the line.
So we started recording the show at 9 p.m. Eastern. I finished watching this show at about 8:55. So if I had any time to think about it, I would have made sure we got everything out of the way and ended the show with the "How do you keep an idiot in suspense?" and just stop the show there. But yeah.
Oh,
well,
unfortunate. Most unfortunate.
We did not plan this out well enough. Anyway, I gotta say it's a dumb joke. Tracy's like breaking when he's saying it because he knows how dumb it is. But it's like Chris Candido sells this bad joke so great, so amazingly well. It's like it's a child's joke, you know.
Tracy loves dumb fucking jokes. I can't. Okay, we're only in '94. I'm not sure exactly when this becomes part of the lexicon, but when Tracy finds out about psych, oh, it's shit's gonna be on.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it's already a thing.
It is. You're right, because it was in the first episode of Power Rangers.
Go Power Rangers. Yeah. So by the way, what the hell is up with that random ass overhead camera?
You know what? You got me. By the way,
we've never had a crane shot ever on this show, and like out of the blue for like 2 seconds, we're looking down at Tracy Smothers and Chris Candido from like 10 feet in the air.
well, they've upgraded the production at the Jellicoe High School. That's for the Jellicoe High School Drama Club's production of
Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah, I don't know. I was so fun. I don't know plays, so I was just fucking trying to think of the name of the play, and you come up with a normal American play, and I come up with some random Greek tragedy that I vaguely remember from high school English.
I was watching the Goldbergs earlier, and well, they did an episode about Fiddler on the Roof. So,
did anybody get speared and jackhammered?
Sadly, no.
Oh, unfortunate.
Yep. But yeah, Chris Candido, he is not a loser. He wants Tracy to put the money up next week. And Tracy's just being Tracy, and Candido throws an amazing hissy fit. Do you think he learned it from Tammy, or did Tammy learn it from him?
I bet she was coaching him in the car on the way to Jellicoe.
That seems very likely. So next week, Heavenly Bodies and Killer Kyle, who is still a thing, versus the Rock and Roll Express and Bobby Blaze. And
you know what? That sounds like a banger.
It does. I bet it'll be a real Lulu next week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, so 108 down, 92 to go. And then, like else we like to do on this show, I'd like to tell you what else is happening this week as reported in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. Because, as always, I can tell you it's the date of the show over and over and over again, which, by the way, was February 19th, 1994. Not that I had to scroll up to see that or anything. But this gives you some context. You know what else is happening at this time period. And the headline of the Observer this week: either Hulk Hogan is headed to WCW for a series of matches with Ric Flair, or there are a lot of people who are going to wind up with egg on their face. Even though we don't have a contract signed yet, Hogan's name was brought up on a number of occasions during the Super Brawl 4 show that was this past weekend, and WCW officials are under the impression that Flair versus Hogan will main event July's pay-per-view.
No fucking way. Never gonna happen. Hogan ain't coming to fucking rinky-ass WCW. Bullshit.
Yes. Remember Hogan going to TNA in 2003? I'm sure it'll be something similar to that here.
Yeah. Almost definitely.
So this might be one of those trigger warning type things I got to throw up here, but the Jerry Lawler statutory rape case continues, with the girl involved yet again stating to the courts that nothing happened, that he was hanging out with her mom and she was there and they did things like go to Taco Bell and all this shit, but there was never anything sexual that went on. And then to make this weird ass case even weirder, the officer who arrested Jerry Lawler was arrested this week on charges of having sex with a 15-year-old girl. You can't make this up.
Wow. Well,
I know, right?
Now, what does Doug Gilbert have to say? Anything?
Doug Gilbert probably did not cut a promo on this police officer.
Not yet.
Yeah. And then, as mentioned earlier, WCW ran the Super Brawl 4 show which I will be watching really soon, which drew 4,217 paid in a $39,000 house. The main event was Flair versus Vader in a cage match with the Boss as the referee, and let's say there's a reason that nobody remembers this match they had. It's hard to have it's hard to have two greatest matches of all time. And my favorite part of this pay-per-view, favorite being a major stretch of the word, there was supposed to be a match between Johnny B. Bad and Michael Hayes earlier in the show. But Michael Hayes came out in a wheelchair with Jimmy Garvin, who hasn't been around in 2 years. And oh my God, it's a miracle. They beat up Johnny B. Bad. Fast forward a few minutes, and they're cutting a promo, and WCW Commissioner Nick Bockwinkel comes out and informs the retired Jimmy Garvin, because he mentions he's retired, he's an airplane pilot. He informs Jimmy Garvin that if he does not wrestle Johnny B. Bad tonight, he will be suspended from WCW for life. And Jimmy Garvin, the retired airplane pilot, flipped out and then wrestled Johnny B. Bad.
Well, I guess Jimmy Garvin isn't banned for life for WCW.
No. Even though I'm pretty sure, I haven't checked, but I'm pretty sure that's his last match he's ever had.
Well, he could have just not done it then.
That is true. Let me see. Jim Garvin from Tampa, Florida. Actually, I'll say no. It wasn't his last match. It wasn't even his last match in 1994, but it's his last WCW match. It was his first match since a match in September of 1992. And then he does a few indies here and there. He wrestles this guy you may have heard of at a random indie show in North Carolina, Rob Van Dam.
Who?
He does a random match against the Ultimate Warrior in Princeton, West Virginia.
Really? No.
Yeah.
Now here's what did he wrestle Chris Adams again?
Yes. He wrestled Chris Adams many more times in the Global Wrestling Federation, with their last match being on September 17th, 1994 in Lawton, Oklahoma. And I guess this will make Chris Adams the winner of the feud, because Chris Adams won their final match.
Well, be the last thing Chris Adams won.
And his last match ever was a match on one of the Rougeau's cards in Verdun, Quebec, Canada, on August 2nd, 2000. And I'm sure you'll be shocked to hear who won this match on a Rougeau card in Montreal, or not in Montreal, but in Verdun, Quebec. The Rougeaus, Jacques and Ramon, defeated Jimmy Garvin and Ronnie Garvin to win the Johnny Rougeau Tag Team Titles.
Well, that just seems like a fix.
Well, the funny thing is, that was their first defense of the belts that they won in December of 1999 in Montreal against Jacques and Ramon. So, I mean, I don't know. I need to look at these the match results of this promotion over the next 8 months to see how Jacques and Ramon earned their return tag team title match.
Who the fuck is booking this tag division? Gato?
One title defense in 9 months?
No. Okay, that's true. If it was Gato, there would have been 15 title defenses and 12 title changes.
True. So yeah, I'm raising some shenanigans here on this on these title changes here, because after they lost that match, I'm sorry, I read the. Oh yeah, no, still okay. After they lost that tag team title match on December 29th, 1999, they did not have another tag team match together until that next match in August of 2000. How did they earn a tag team title shot when they didn't even team together in 8 months?
Well, it's cage match. The perhaps the archives are incomplete.
That is true. I apologize. I didn't mean to besmirch the Rougeaus like that, because I'm sure that they would not cause any sort of offbeat shenanigans like that.
I have an update on the card at Arena Mexico that's happening. Apparently, Neon and Hologram had a match that was, and I am quoting here, so fucking sick.
In a good way or a bad way?
All right, we're not doing this again.
Okay, well, so fucking sick could be bad. Just saying.
No, it couldn't. Nobody like that's not the way that. Like, okay, like if I say, oh, I was so fucking sick this weekend, like that's bad.
That's not good.
But if I'm talking, right? But context is everything. Like if I say, oh, that was fucking sick, like that means it was really cool. Context, Arya, context.
I meant it was really cool in like the 90s, but okay. To be fair, in the 90s, goat meant something different. So the definition of words do change, just saying. Anyway, see, I knew I'd get something out of you by the end. I thought you were going to give us an update on the Johnny Rougeau tag team titles. Because that seems like
do I need to track down the linear championship? Or is it still have they had a tag match since then?
They have actually. Eric Mastrocola and Kurt Lauderdale defeated the Rougeaus in August of 2002, and then when the Rougeaus won them back a few months later, it wasn't even Eric Mastrocola and Kurt Lauderdale. It was Eric Mastrocola and Handsome JF that lost the belts to the Rougeaus. So Eric Mastrocola and Kurt Lauderdale may to this day be the linear Johnny Rougeau tag team champions.
Now, is Handsome JF related to MJF?
I don't know, but he's the guy that does French commentary for TNA. That when I first saw him, I thought he was Johnny Bravo because they kind of look alike. But apparently they're two different people.
Oh, by the way, something else that I came across, and I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. It'll probably come up in a couple of weeks. Never mind.
Come on, say it.
Oh, so the marathon matches between the Rock and Roll Express and the Heavenly Bodies. Arya, I have some terrible news for you.
They don't actually go 60 minutes?
Ricky Morton has tonsillitis that week, and at least in some of those marathon matches, is replaced by Tim Horner.
Tim Horner, yeah.
Yes.
Sure, the matches were still good. I mean, not.
Do you want to see Horner wrestle for a fucking hour?
Well, at least it's better than him watching him talk for an hour.
That's true.
Can you imagine living with Tim Horner and listening to him talk?
We need to ask Pam if Horner's a 60-minute man or not.
I think we'd get slapped. Not really an update per se, but Eric Mastrocola and Kurt Lauderdale did have one other match together as a team. They defeated Beef Wellington in a 2-on-1 handicap match. And then I'm assuming something happened because the next month, Beef Wellington teamed with Eric Mastrocola to defeat Kurt Lauderdale and Question Mark. So, I mean, the linear Johnny Rougeau tag team champions, their relationship did not last very long.
I want to go to a restaurant and order a Beef Wellington with an Eric Mastrocola.
So you order Beef Wellington and they bring you a oh my God, what was that guy's fucking name? The referee who screwed the Ryback, who wrestled as Beef. Well, didn't he wrestle as Beef Wellington in OVW? But it's not the same Beef Wellington.
Oh, maybe.
You know who I'm talking about.
I do.
He was the referee who became general manager, like with Vicky Guerrero. Brad Maddox.
Oh, Brad Maddox. How could we forget Brad Maddox?
Yes. Yes. What if you ordered a Beef Wellington and they brought you a Brad Maddox instead?
I wouldn't know how to approach that problem.
Oh God. And you wonder why people dislike this show. What is wrong with you people? How could you dislike this show?
Can
you imagine someone coming across this and just reading the description of the show, ordering a beef Wellington
Brad Maddox. You have to write it that way too.
Well, I mean, I'm writing the spelling of his name just in case some human being out there is looking at Brad Maddox on YouTube and sees our show. But that's how Heyman used to say his name, Brad Maddox.
What? You remember the Brian and Vinny show, and Granny was infatuated with Brad Maddox?
I mean, he's a handsome young guy.
Man. He is.
Yeah.
He's a very handsome fellow.
And then did he get fired for calling someone a prick?
Probably. I bet that person was a prick.
Yeah. I mean, Brad Maddox is a handsome guy. He's only 41 years old. And WrestleOlogy did a YouTube video on December 6, 2023, The Downward Spiral of Brad Maddox in WWE.
Oh, how long is it?
I don't know. Oh, 11 minutes, 17 seconds. We're not playing it.
It was a short spiral. You watch on the Spot Show this week?
Sure. By the way, you could have given me 8 million guesses, and I never would have guessed Brad Maddox's real name. In fact, I would have guessed his real name was Brad Maddox.
What's his real name?
Well, this is according to the always reliable Wikipedia, so take this with a grain of salt. Joshua Klutz.
Joshua Klutz.
Yes. Kluttz.
Isn't that like... what is Chris Saban's real name? Isn't it something like Joshua something?
Yes. It's like him and Alex Shelley. It's like they have like the most plain ass names, so you think it's their real names, but it's like their real names are like Patrick and I forget the other one.
Chris Saban's name is Joshua Harder, and I think Alex Shelley's name is Patrick Martin.
Yeah. It's like, okay. You know?
It's like Adam Cole.
Yeah. How do you pick a generic real name? And it wasn't even the WWE name generator. It's like you picked a name that sounds so real that people don't believe that it's a made up name. And then like I remember I always thought Claudio Castagnoli was the fakest sounding wrestling name in all of wrestling. And then I found out that's his real name.
It is. That's funny.
Oh my God. So again, this is the always reliable Wikipedia saying this. Brad Maddox's ring names over the years have been Brad Maddox, Joshua Kingsley, Brent Wellington, or sometimes Beef Wellington, Mad Braddox, and then the Goof, or and we need to hunt down this because, like, I bet something tremendous came of this. Lord Ruffles.
Oh, Lord Ruffles. That sounds sensational. You say Lord Ruffles, and what the image that the AI in my brain generates is Jack Gallagher wearing like a fucking Shakespearean collar thing.
Okay, apparently this was on an episode of WWE Main Event. August 25, 2015 in Providence, Rhode Island, which I was not at. I promise you I would have remembered this shit. Lord Ruffles, former Raw GM Brad Maddox, came out and ran down the crowd. He challenged anyone to come down to the ring right now to face him, which led to apparently the main event. Zack Ryder beat Lord Ruffles with the Rough Rider.
How much do you regret not going to that show, Arya?
I really do. And this was courtesy pwtorch.com. And I'm okay. I gotta pull up the YouTubes and see if that match is on YouTube. Because if it is, we gotta watch this for something. And if it's not, I bet it's on Peacock or something.
The Peacock, the cock.
Apparently not.
Darn.
How the hell do you have a match like Zack Ryder versus Lord Ruffles and you do not put that on YouTube? Because I bet that would get 15 million views.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
that's
you
why.
hate success.
Maybe that's
the
why. 'Cause
TKO.
WWE, yeah. Well, okay, TKO, but this was still Vince McMahon's WWE. Zack Ryder got over on his own, so they buried the hell out of him.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't believe that company, at least under the last administration, punished people for getting over when they weren't supposed to, just look at Zack Ryder.
They had I'm just scrolling through. I don't know if this is the match. Actually it probably is because it's on ECW. Zack Ryder versus Rory Fox, the match where Rory Fox's tights explode somehow.
Oh, rapid delivery Rory Fox.
Yes. Poor Rory Fox. But yeah, we need to find this match with Lord Ruffles to discuss, because
do we?
you cannot tell me a man is named Lord Ruffles and not want me to go check it out.
It just makes me wish that Jack Gallagher wasn't a sex pervert, because he could get some bookings off of that idea.
Yes. Sadly, I mean, Marty Scurll's a sex pervert, and isn't he getting bookings?
And fucking outlaw fucking shows in Mexico and the Caribbean and shit. Marty Scurll has not been welcomed back into polite society.
I mean, yeah, he literally just wrestled 2 weeks ago in Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil, which, tells you everything you need to know. Okay, he wrestled in Puerto Rico in December, which is part of the United States. But yeah, it's like he killed his own career, which
I'm not gonna lie though, I do still have my my Bullet Club umbrella.
I still have my Villain Club shirt. I don't know where it is, but I know I never threw it out, thus I still have it.
I'm sorry, and we don't want to turn this into a praising shitty people thing, but one of my most favorite spots ever, and I know they did it at least twice. They did it in a multi-man tag on one of the New Japan California shows on Access, and they did it at All In. The spot where Marty Scurll blocks the fucking Rainmaker with the umbrella. It's perfection.
And I still remember Marty Scurll when TNA did British Boot Camp. It was him, Rockstar Spud, and the Blossom Twins competing for a TNA contract, and Rockstar Spud won.
Yeah.
And the Marty Scurll that was on that show and the Marty Scurll that everyone knows of, the one that he becomes, two very different Marty Scurlls, to the point that I had to that could not be the same person.
Marty was not the villain.
No. Yeah. Even though technically they were in fact the same person. Yeah. But yeah. It's
can we say that without getting canceled, that we liked Marty Scurll before all the reasons came out?
Okay. We're not sitting here and saying, "Oh yeah, we love Marty Scurll." We're telling you, it's like, before we knew he was a sex pervert, we liked Marty Scurll. Before I knew Hulk Hogan was a racist, I liked Hulk Hogan. It's like you can't I shouldn't have liked Hulk Hogan when I was a child because it turned out he was a racist. I didn't know that when I was 10. And it's like, the people who like fucking Joey Ryan, it's like, first of all, there's something wrong with you to begin with. You like Joey Ryan, but
I'm not guilty of that one.
Yeah, if you like Joey Ryan, it's like, I don't disparage you because you liked somebody who turned out to be a sex pervert. Even though, you kind of get the idea when the guy's main move is having you touch his penis.
I will disparage you for shitty taste in wrestling.
Yes. Anywho, I still can't believe the fucking penis fucking mascots at All In. That was something.
I had to explain that to my wife, and I will never forgive him for that.
And she couldn't see and somehow knew this was happening.
It doesn't make it better. It makes it worse.
Yeah. I remember like in the build up to that when Dave is talking about it so matter of factly in the Observer, I'm like, okay, everyone has their moment. This is when Dave has jumped the shark for me.
I miss Dave recapping Be the Elite.
Well, you may get the chance because apparently they've talked about bringing it back.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, I think we've talked enough about stuff that has nothing to do with the Smoky Mountain show we talked about. All right. So I hear the Oh My God cast has a new episode. Bruno Sammartino in drag or something?
That is the episode title. The alternative was a 911 with no name, but I thought that more people would go Bruno Sammartino in drag. What the fuck is that about?
I'm with you there.
Yeah. If you want more Terry Funk, if you want more Terry Funk goodness and some Terry Funk wackiness, join us on the Oh My God cast.
And what's the date of this show? What date of the ECW show have you watched?
We watched the last show of 1993.
Wow.
And then the January 4th show is a clip show. And then there was no show January 11th, and then there was a 90-minute show on January 18th. So we are through January 18th now, and when Ben gets back from his European vacation in a few weeks, we will work on getting caught up.
Sounds good, and maybe one day we'll find 1993 handheld camera footage of the body count match.
Hopefully. WWE Vault. If you're listening.
WWE Vault. If you're listening, I don't know why you wouldn't be. We need the body count match. We need to see that police officer knock over the explosive shit.
I'm actually going to go tweet them that right now. Bye, y'all.
Sounds good. Take care. Bye, everyone. Talk to you in 7 days.